Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is your girl Adriana DC. Tonight's video is going to be a very exciting video. Kylie just released 4 Oudgasmic fragrances, and I have the fragrances right here in my hand, you guys. So you guys know these fragrances are scheduled to be released on the 1st of October worldwide, but it is exclusive to Harrods at the moment. So Harrods actually released the fragrances earlier in this week, and of course I had to get them. I had to get them. If you guys know me, you know that my middle name is Oud. Okay, I love me a good oud, you guys. So Kayali dropping 4 Oudgasmic fragrances. I had to have them. Okay, I had to have them, you guys. So yeah, tonight I'm gonna be giving you guys my thoughts on Kayali's 4 Oudgasm fragrances. And unlike most occasions, I'm going to be giving you guys a second update on these fragrances. And I'll tell you later on in the video why I'm going to give this video a second update, a second review, that kind of way. So yeah, if you guys are interested in hearing my thoughts on Kylie's new Oudgasm fragrances, then by all means keep on watching. If you guys are new here, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Make sure to hit the notification bell so that way you will be notified every single time I upload. And for those of you who are my returning subscribers, thank you guys for your love and your continuous support. So let's just get right into it. First of all, let me just highlight to you guys my Kylie, my dedicated Kylie section. Now, I just had to do it. I've been wanting to do this for a minute now, but I was concerned that I didn't have that the brand didn't have that much fragrances. But now I think there's a total of about 17 or 18 fragrances all together, I do believe. And I am 5 bottles short because I sold 4 of them in Anguilla, because as you guys know, in the Caribbean, people don't really have access to, Kylie fragrances and a lot of other European brands unless they go to America. So, when I go home and I'm splashing and bathing in my Kylie fragrances and people ask me what I'm wearing, you know, they eventually get sold. Okay. So yeah, I am 5 bottles down. So I have 13 bottles from the brand all together. So yeah, I will be picking up, those 4 additional bottles to complete my beautiful Kylie perfume collection. So as you can see, I already have the fragrances displayed here, and I'm going to start off with the first fragrance, which in this one would have been my least anticipated fragrance from the brand. And the fragrance I'm talking about is Kylie's Oudgasm Vanilla Oud. Okay, and it's not that I don't like the brand or like Kylie fragrances, but I think we have a fair share of vanilla and oud combinations. That kind of way. I personally do have a fair share of vanilla and combinations in my perfume collection. So I wasn't really looking out for this one in particular, but of course, I was gonna have it either way. So this is Kylie's Oudgasm Vanilla Oud 36. Let me just put up the notes for you guys. As you guys know, the boxes do come with a list of the main notes in the fragrance, but I want to kind of look at all of the notes in this particular scent. So the top notes are praline, saffron, and pear. And the middle notes are Bulgarian rose. The base note is vanilla sugar, white musk, cashmere wood, oud, and oak moss. So now, first of all, these fragrances came this afternoon, okay? And I've had a little bit of time to play with them, but not that much time. It's just been one day, hence why, I'm going to give you guys an updated review. So let's just have a spray of vanilla oud. Okay, as per usual, Kylie sprayers, they're probably one of the best sprayers on the market. Okay. So vanilla oud opens up with a sugary, sweet, bright burst of the pear mixing with the praline. Okay, the fragrance actually comes off a little bit juicy and sweet, and you do get the essence of the praline in the opening of this fragrance, but it most definitely has the presence of the bright, juicy pear in the opening. Okay, you definitely get the rose throughout the fragrance, and of course I think Mona probably likes sugar, you know, like a sugared musk or whatever, sugary sweetness and fragrances on a whole. Because one note that's standing out for sure is that sugary aspect to this fragrance. It smells sugary sweet amongst, you know, the pear and the rose essence in this perfume. And there is some musk as well. You're definitely getting the musk, you're getting the oak mass in this perfume, and of course that beautiful note of vanilla. I want to say you are getting the oud in the perfume, but you're getting the oud at the ending of the fragrance. Like when the perfume starts to settle down and dry into the skin, that's when you're getting the oud, and you are capturing the oud and the saffron coming on to the ending. This is a warm and cozy and sweet smelling fragrance. And to my pleasant surprise, I was actually quite fond of this particular scent, considering that I was not anticipating this one in particular, because we've had vanilla, we had vanilla royale, you know, we just had vanilla all through, you know, and then Love Fest, Burning Cherry, you know, had some touches of vanilla in it as well. And I felt like, you know, I wasn't really like, you know, looking forward to this one in particular, but this one is actually quite pleasant, you guys. The reviews that I've heard, they said that this one is the less potent and the softer one and the much more easier to wear. And I would agree with those claims. It is a beautiful soft fragrance, but it is most definitely a really, really pretty and uncomplicated one. Now, again, we do have, you know, loads of vanilla oud offerings. The closest one to the vanilla oud would be, of course, vanilla oud from the Guerlain range. However, that one is much more stronger and the oud is much more prominent in that one. I think there's some other touches that's come out in that particular scent, but this one is a much more sugary, sweet, softer version of a vanilla oud fragrance. In terms of wear, just before my partner left home today, he, you know, dibbled and dabbled in them just to have a smell, you know, along with me. And about after 4 hours, because he left home for 1, and I spoke to him at about 5 o'clock, and he said to me, the vanilla oud smells really good and I can still smell it on my skin. So he pretty much gave me a brief, you know, wear test of this fragrance today with all 4 of them. So this one in particular lasted around 4 hours plus, I would want to say. So I'm not saying it doesn't last longer than 4 hours, but I didn't check in with him. I felt 4 hours lasting on your skin. That's beautiful. And I will probably give you guys an update on what he had, you know, and his further experience with the fragrance, as well as my experience with the perfume, because I actually haven't worn them out. I just sprayed them on my hand. So this is the Vanilla Oud from Kylie's Oudgasm collection. So next up, I'm going to tell you guys my thoughts on Cafe Oud 19. Cafe Oud, unlike Vanilla Oud, was one of my most anticipated fragrances from the range, okay? And let's just get to the notes. Let me get to the notes. So Cafe Oud has in top notes of cappuccino, bergamot, and mandarin orange, middle notes of geranium and rose, and base notes of white musk, vanilla, oud, and patchouli. And when I smelled Cafe Oud, I took out my notebook and I literally made note of everything. So Cafe Oud, let me just spray it just so I don't need to remind myself, but I'm gonna spray it again so that I can see how, if the fragrance has changed a little bit on my skin, or just see, you know. Okay, now I was looking forward to a coffee fragrance because I don't have much coffee fragrances. I only have black opium. Okay, I don't have coffee in my collection. Kylie never gave us a coffee fragrance before. And this is a DNA that I don't have much experience with. So I wanted a coffee dominant fragrance. And I sprayed it, and my initial reaction, or should I say the first spray, was really strange. It was like I couldn't like make out what this fragrance was doing, okay? And then I let it settle on the skin, okay? And I waited and I waited and I waited and I waited for the coffee note. But then obviously I noticed that it says cappuccino. If I could be honest with you guys, I don't drink coffee. It just gives me palpitations. So I don't drink coffee. I have drank it before, so I have an idea of what it tastes like, or the smell of it, obviously. But I don't know what cappuccino is, so to speak, and I don't know if they're one and the same or if they're different. I know that's a strange question. I'm guessing it is a strange question in the world of coffee drinkers and so forth, so forth. But I waited for the cafe, but instead we got. I waited for the coffee, but instead we got the chino without the cap. And this is literally how I phrase it, because I have my notes, you guys. I wrote like a whole epistle because I had to get my notebook out. I just needed to, I needed to jot down what I was getting from this fragrance. So I wrote here, the fragrance opened up a little bit strange, like I already said to you guys. There was a slight cappuccino essence, but the chino without the cap. Okay, it went straight to the ending. I was expecting a coffee, and at least a light coffee. But after 5 minutes, there was no coffee. The dry down came, and an extremely strong geranium essence shined through, or should I say, dominated the fragrance. And I'm going to just stop right there. This perfume is not a coffee fragrance. It is not a coffee forward fragrance. Okay, let's just make that very clear. Okay. Which is why I am going to give you guys a second or updated review of these fragrances, because I don't get how it's a cafe oud, but there's no coffee. I have experience with Kylie fragrances when you just get them. The scent profile isn't that deep and not that macerated. And, my initial reaction with Kylie fragrances are never always the last reaction with Kylie fragrances. So, well, for the most, I would say. So what I got in this perfume is extremely dry green, slightly earthy geranium that reigned throughout the fragrance, that overshined every single thing else in this perfume. And I never even got like an oud in this fragrance, in my opinion. And as it dried down, it got a little bit greener. Okay. And that's all I got from this perfume. So this fragrance just smells like geranium. I don't like this perfume. I don't like this fragrance. Okay, Kylie, Mona does not give me fragrances that I don't like. I don't like this perfume, and yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed. Okay, so I'm gonna just leave my final thoughts on this scent right here, and I have to give you guys an updated review on this perfume after I've played with it well enough, because right now I do not like this perfume. Let's move on to the next. So next, let's move on to my most anticipated fragrance. And would you guys like to take a guess? Of course, Tobacco Oud. Like, was that hard for you guys to even like figure that out? Tobacco, oh gosh. I just love a very strong, oudy, borderline masculine, daring, bold scent. That's the reason why I was mostly anticipating this fragrance. So the notes in Tobacco Oud are top notes: white honey, mandarin orange, clary, sage, geranium, and plum. The middle notes are saffron and clove. And the base notes are tobacco, vanilla, praline, benzoin, oud, and patchouli. And when I sprayed this fragrance, it was an instant love, because and I'm gonna just give you guys my notes, like thoughts from in my notes, because I wrote down my feelings and my thoughts immediately. So this is the truest definition of a tobacco oud fragrance. Okay, of course we have Tom Ford's Tobacco Oud. Okay, but Kayali gave us oud. Tom Ford gave us Tobacco Wood. And I literally have that here. Tom Ford gave us Tobacco Wood in his fragrance, as in more wood and patchouli than oud, with a very strong and authentic dose of tobacco. But Kylie gave us tobacco and oud. It has the same tobacco essence from the Tobacco Ouds, but then it also captures some of the richness from Toba Color, Dior's tobacco fragrance. The richness in the tobacco from Toba Color, it definitely has a bit of that in Kayali's Tobacco Oud, but it's much more closer to Tom Ford's Tobacco Oud, I would say. And with this one, yeah, I'm definitely getting more taupe color as it dries down. The fragrance kind of thickens, it gets deeper and a little bit darker. I would say it still opens up a little bit bright. There is some mandarin orange and opening, so it opens up kind of bright and a hint of spiciness to this perfume. Okay, and there is a nice dose of sweetness in here. So Kylie gave us a full-bodied tobacco oud fragrance. Very rich and authentic dose of tobacco with a very genuine dose of oud, but not too overpowering. The oud backs up the tobacco, and it's all about the tobacco in this fragrance. And then it has a dose of sweetness from the plum and the honey in here. So, and the honey didn't take over the fragrance like in taupe color. Okay, this is a tobacco lover's dream. I think that this fragrance will be absolutely adored by people who enjoy tobacco, and even people who don't enjoy tobacco. They will have an appreciation for this fragrance because it's just a really beautiful scent, in my opinion. It's very well made, very well put together. You get the oud, it's given. Okay, out of all the fragrances, just like everybody else's review, and I know that you can be a little bit biased listening to other people's review. However, I am here to tell you guys that the claims that have been made about Kayali's tobacco oud are very much true, except for one. They say this fragrance leans masculine. That's not true. Tobacco oud is still much more masculine than this one. Okay, and I have smelled the tobacco oud intense as well, and it's not as rich and as heavy as this one because again it has wood as opposed to oud. So this one is heavier, a little bit sweeter, stronger, but definitely, if you can call it borderline unisex if you want. This is not. I've smelled and worn much more masculine leaning fragrances. So for me, this is not just for the men, but it's definitely, a really sexy smelling fragrance. So I am extremely happy with this particular release. The last fragrance from the newly released Oudgasm range is the Rose Oud. Okay, and this is another one that I least anticipated as well, and the reason for that is because this is a DNA that we've had before from, not this DNA in particular. I mean the Rose and Oud combo. This is a combination that has been done over and over and over and over. So I was like, yeah, I have Rose Oud in my collection, so I don't really care that much. But I was pleasantly surprised, you guys. So Rose Oud opens up with top notes of geranium, lemon, and pear. You have middle notes of Bulgarian rose and peony, base notes of oud, vanilla, and cashmere wood. And let me just tell you guys what I got when I sprayed this perfume. Okay. So this fragrance, it opens up with a rich dose of the lemon mixing with the geranium and the rose. You get the musk and the oud. Does that sound familiar? Yes, it does. So Kayali's Oudgasm Rose Oud is Valentino's Yellow Dreams with an amped up dose of musk and oud. Okay, that's what this fragrance smells like, pretty much bang on. Okay, this is a very beautiful blend, you guys. This is a very beautiful, interesting, and intoxicating blend, you guys. I got to hand it to Mona because I put it here in my notes. All right, I'm gonna have to congratulate Mona for giving us another rose oud combination. I have my thoughts right here in my notebook, and my last note is this is a pretty rose oud fragrance and a successful execution of a not so cliche rose oud combination. Okay, so kudos to Mona. All right, she has broke the code and has given us a rose and oud combination and something different. I like this fragrance. This is a really beautiful fragrance. Okay, the scent profile was very prominent, as in you got the geranium, the musk, and the lemon. You got the geranium, the rose, and the lemon. I would say the oud is quite amped up in this fragrance, and I say this because you're kind of getting a lot of oud. Okay, not I have seen some people say that this fragrance is strong and overbearing. That's not the case. Okay, this is not a strong overbearing oud, but you get a prominent dose, a very familiar, you know, oud essence in this fragrance. All of the other perfumes, they have been so finely blended. You get oud, but it's not a recognizable oud. This is a recognizable oud scent. This is an absolutely spectacular smelling fragrance, and this was actually one of the fragrances that I least anticipated. So let me just give you guys a roundup of the ranking that I gave these fragrances right off the back. Okay, so coming in at number 4, of course, I placed Cafe Oud at the number 4 spot as my, I don't like this fragrance, and I am not exactly, I'm not happy about this scent at all. Okay, I'm a little bit let down. I'm a little let down. I'll be honest, I'm a little bit let down with Cafe Oud. Okay, so this is coming in at the number 4 spot. Coming in at number 3, I actually gave it to Rose Oud, and that's because obviously the other fragrances come on top, but it is most definitely a beautiful fragrance. Again, not one that I was anticipating, but a very pleasant surprise. Next up, I gave Tobacco Oud the number 2 spot out of the 4 fragrances. And even though this is like by far the most spectacular of them all, I kind of like took a point off because of originality. Obviously Tom Ford has done a tobacco oud before, and this fragrance does share resemblance of 2 of the most outstanding tobacco oud fragrances for me, which is Toba Color and Tobacco Oud. I gave it the number 2 spot. I do still think it's a spectacular fragrance, but I place it in the number 2, even though this was my absolute most favorite of them all. Leaving my least anticipated fragrance as the number 1, you guys. This is a really nice fragrance. Like, this is like really pretty. Okay, I want to say this fragrance has a slight essence of like a Palo Santo vibe, so it's giving you slight Lost Cherry vibes without the cherry and the depth. Okay? This is pretty much Lost Cherry stripped down with the addition of oud. It does smell like there's some Palo Santo in it, but it's powdery, it's beautiful, it's pretty, it's sexy, it's mild, it's sweet, it's praline. And bet your life, I have already put together some combos for you guys, and I'm going to leave my combinations for a separate video because I have loads and loads of combination for you guys, because I think Oudgasm Vanilla Oud is just gonna take every single fragrance that is layered with up a notch and to the next level, you guys. So these are my thoughts on Kylie's Oudgasm fragrances, you guys. Let me know in the comment section what you guys think, how you guys are feeling, if you guys have tried them, which is your favorite. Okay, so if you guys are new here, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Make sure to hit that notification bell so that way you will be notified every single time I upload. And for those of you who are my returning subscribers, thank you guys for supporting me. I truly appreciate your support. And until next time, see you guys in my very next video. Bye.